Welcome to Beaver Tracks, a damn good podcast where we bring you inside the world of OSU and share behind the scenes look at Beaver Nation. I'm Kaylene McLaughlin, an admissions advisor at OSU based on our Corvallis campus. Thank you for joining us today. Today joining us is Dani Zahariev. Welcome, Dani.
Hey, happy to be here.
So just to kind of get us started, do you want to give a little bit of an introduction about yourself, things you're involved with, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. So hi, my name is Danny. I'm actually a fourth year. I'm about to graduate, but I'm a double major in digital communication arts and computer science. So that's kind of what I'm studying. Outside of the classroom, I'm involved in a lot of extracurriculars having to do with like media. So I'm involved at Orange Media Network, which is like the sort of student media organization on campus, specifically KBVR-TV. I also am heavily involved in Orange and Black Film Club, which I founded, uh, but which like makes short films every term. Uh, Both take up a lot of my time, but both are like an absolute blast. Yeah. Besides that, I like to boulder. I like to hike. I like to cook. Um, yeah, which all of these are things that you can do at OSU.
Exactly. So yeah, glad you brought up film club. That's kind of the main thing we want to talk to you about, and just I really want to know, kind of like starting from the beginning, what kind of drove you to build film club and kind of have that creative setting for you and other
Yeah.
students.
No, that's a good question. Yeah, film club is like a great place for students to come and like, participate and learn how films are made, and like also to have their sort of an opportunity to have their creative visions realized. And that was kind of what I wanted to make when I first founded Film Club, um, because yeah, back in freshman year, it was sort of tough to find like a film community, but like it is crazy how much it's grown. Like I think to this date, between when I first founded Film Club and now, we've produced over like something like 15 films. And all of these are student written, student directed, student edited, um, and like honestly, like some of the films, it's kind of hard to tell that they were even made by students. If you're curious at home, you can watch all of our films on our YouTube if you just look up Orange and Black Film Club. Um, but yeah, I really wanted to make a community where it's like it's not just about like doing a job and being there with people, like making something, but you also like are able to make friends. Like a lot of my friends are from Film Club. Uh, and yeah, it's a great opportunity to get involved in, whether or not you're like planning on pursuing film. I know a lot of people are not are not planning on pursuing film, but they're just doing it because they enjoy being creative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely a cool creative outlet for students to have. And even like watching like the first couple episodes to like the most recent ones that were produced, it's so cool to see like kind of that evolution and how like production as a team, like you can definitely tell like how much of a team effort film is. And I think it's a really cool outlet that students have on campus. Um, and it's been really cool to see that kind of evolution.
yeah,
How is it to create the club on campus though? Like kind of what was the kind of like the backrooms process of all that? Because even I'm like, I don't know how I would go about making a club, but I hear it's really easy.
yeah. No, that's a good question. No, I mean, luckily it is a very like approachable process. There's like student clubs and orgs on campus, which is sort of the like the university's way of overseeing clubs. And yeah, like basically you just register, make an account. You have to like write a constitution, which is maybe the hardest part, but like they like give guides and like help review it like during the process. So it is um so yeah, it's really approachable. Uh yeah, I'd say like honestly the hardest part is yeah, writing the constitution and just like figuring out how to like recruit people, and but like there's plenty of resources for that. And if film club is anything to go by, it's definitely easier than you think it is to do.
For sure. Um, how did so let's kind of backtrack slash move gears a little bit
Yeah.
to kind of I want to talk about your major choices because I know double majoring is already something that a lot of students have questions about on whether or not they can even do it because a lot of universities don't. But kind of, how did you come up with the combo of computer science and digital communications? Like, was that your intention? Did that just kind of happen?
Yeah, that's actually such a good question because when I first came to Oregon State, I was only a computer science major. In fact, that was kind of one of the main reasons that I chose Oregon State is because I knew their computer science program was really strong. Um, but as I went along with both film club and being involved at KBVR-TV, I realized that media creation is also something that I'm really passionate about, um, and media in general. Like a lot of the people that I knew from those were involved in new media communications. Uh, so yeah, that was kind of being exposed to that definitely inspired me to add that. In terms of like the double major, um, you know, it's it's an interesting question because it's I won't lie and say that it's easy. Like, you are taking twice as many classes essentially, like depending on how much overlap there is. And uh, it is a commitment. And like, I'm really lucky that I had a lot of sort of transfer credits from like high school, like in AP classes. So I'm able to do it in 4 years. And even that for me was like there are some terms where I had to take like 19 credits, and which is the most that you can typically take in a term. Um, but so yeah, it's definitely a decision not to be made lightly. But what I will say, like for advice for people who are considering it, is like, start with a major and a minor. That's what I did. Like first I added the NMC minor. And then I saw, okay, this is something that I really enjoy. I'm gonna make this a double major. And like looking at my schedule, this is something that I can do. And even if you don't end up going down that path, you end up with a minor, which is, still pretty valuable. Um, yeah, like I know you were a psychology major and a film minor, right?
Yeah, it's definitely nice to start off with that minor option. I think that's really good advice for students because jumping into a double major, unless it's something that is like very specifically designed, like we offer a sustainability like double degree, and that is like designed to be like a digestible double major. But like when you just start like pulling things together on your own, it can get a little messy. So I definitely like that is a good piece of advice to just kind of like consider as a student of like, okay, let's start as a minor. And that's also a good way to introduce yourself to like those introductory level courses without having to be like, oh, I have to take all these classes. I feel like it's like a little snapshot of like, okay, this is like I'm liking these classes and with like because like I know so many digital communications and new media like students. I'd imagine that I definitely considered adding that as a minor in like definitely during like my time at OMN. Like I was like, that could be fun. Um, but yeah, I think there's just like great little snapshots. And then when you decide like, because really it is up to you on what you can digest and what you can kind of hold yourself up to if you want to take 19 credit terms and kind of commit to a little bit of overtime when it comes to your classes and studies. So that's a really good piece of advice. I appreciate you sharing that. Um, and then because you did kind of mention overlap, is there a lot of overlap between like anything that you've learned in computer science with digital communications, or are they pretty like separate from each other, or do you find that you're able to kind of like tie in some lessons together at all?
That's a really good question. I get asked that a lot. Um, I think part of it depends on, if you were to do those two majors yourself, it depends on like what specific classes you want to enroll in and what like computer science option that you do. For me, I actually ended up like on the computer science side, I took a lot of the computer graphics classes,
Okay.
and then on the digital communication art side or NMC, they're the same major. Um, they I took a lot of the 3D modeling classes, which I found had like a lot of overlap. Um, so like yeah, it's kind of the natural intersection of those two majors is sort of yeah, computer graphics, animation or film or like or 3D modeling. that's kind of like the overlap. But there's also like a lot of ways in which that like those two majors don't overlap, which I really enjoy sort of being able to go to like, have different like very different things in my week. Um, like so for example, the option that I'm doing for computer science is artificial intelligence. So that was a lot of like, hard math class and in theory, which, part of me enjoys doing. And then with NMC, there was some stuff that was very like related to learning about the history of like media and like television and film, which is also like very interesting, and I love learning about that stuff. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting combo. I don't think I know many people who are doing it as well, but I definitely have no regrets with my decisions.
I really liked how you connected, the graphic design courses with also like things you're learning in new media. Like I didn't even think of those connections between those colleges. But something else I kind of wanted to touch on was just being in the College of Engineering. Were there any particular resources that you found particularly helpful, or do you know anyone, or were you able to participate in one of our internship programs like the MECOP or the CCOP? Because I know a lot of students have questions about getting hands-on interactions with their majors and things like that.
Yeah. So me personally, I didn't do MECOP. I know a lot of people who did. Um, like my roommate actually is just like about to go into his second internship. Um, I will say, like, yeah, the resources for the College of Engineering are definitely really nice and good. I think one thing that I would definitely recommend to like freshmen, especially those in computer science, is to like get involved with the clubs. For example, like kind of my freshman and sophomore year, I was involved with a lot with ACM, which is like a computer science club. There's also App Development Club, which I was the secretary for one of my years. Um, I think I think for both, like, whatever major you're doing, it's great. The classes are awesome and it's great to learn theory, but it's also great to like apply that theory into practice, like in your clubs, and to like, and to also like build your community of people. Um, yeah, I think besides that, I definitely take advantage of like, the counselors and like in terms of like helping with my career planning. Obviously with like both of my majors, that can be a little bit hard to like to make decisions about. But no, yeah, definitely a lot of resources in college and engineering.
That's super cool. Um, Yeah, it's definitely one of those larger colleges that every student's asking about when we go to like events and things. So it's really nice to kind of have that perspective as a student yourself. Something I want to also talk about is just kind of other things you're involved with on campus. I know you mentioned bouldering. Were you ever able to get involved with the rock climbing club on campus, or do you use a lot of those resources here since we do have two massive rock walls that we share about on campus?
Yeah, that is a good question. I do use a lot of the space on campus. So there's two. There's McAlexander Fieldhouse, which is that has like a lot of the bouldering and a lot of like good top roping walls. Dixon Recreation also has it's mostly top roping, but they have a lot of walls. So it's like uh, it's really awesome. Like I never get bored of the routes because they're always on rotation. Um, so yeah, definitely take advantage of those. And that's like, how I got into them was I saw that, oh, hey, these are open and like I should really take advantage of them. Um, yeah, in terms of other like resources on campus, um, I think the library is also really great. Um, there's like I think like I really enjoy just sometimes kind of walking around it and kind of exploring the different like tutoring spaces that they have, and like the printing is really nice. They have like games that you can borrow, and like sometimes during the winter they have like a sun lamp that you can lend out for like a week, which is really nice when the weather gets kind of dreary. Um, but yeah, I think that's another like piece of it I said I'd give to like incoming students is definitely like explore the campus and walk around. I sometimes just like to walk into random buildings and just like discover like, oh, there's this like really cool like lab. Like there's like I know there's like a nuclear reactor on campus that like the nuclear engineering students use. So you never know what you're gonna find when you're just walking around.
No, that's so true. That's one of my favorite things to do is just like find a random building on campus and figure out why is this here or who uses this or because especially like I feel like a lot of our buildings also hide like mini museums or like curated art pieces that you're like, why is this here? Like in
Yeah.
this random hall. But yeah, that's definitely I agree. Like one of the coolest things you can do on campus is just kind of explore it for yourself and really appreciate you mentioning the library because that is such a good resource and I definitely have checked out my fair share of those sun lamps. Just like the Californian in me always sometimes just like needs a reminder that the sun is there. She might be gone for now, but she'll come back.
Real.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, love all the resources that the library has. And yeah, especially like now that they've kind of like redone that like first floor area, I feel like it's a lot more like easy to navigate and very welcoming. And there's so many cool
Yeah.
things to just that's another building that just has cool art pieces and like random like museum artifacts. And you're like, this is so cool,
Yeah.
like just in our library.
Yeah. And the study rooms too. Those are good. Like if you ever need to like meet with someone on campus, you have no idea where, like the study rooms are a great place to do that.
Oh yeah, I've definitely taken like a fair share of like Zoom calls or phone calls that I'm like, I need no one to bother me right now and I need a quiet space. And those study rooms are perfect. Um, all right, so kind of I do want to talk a little bit more about your time at OMN, and kind of how did you find it? You know, what like was it just showing up to an open house? Was it just kind of something that was on your radar? Um, but yeah, if you want to kind of talk about your time there and um, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, when I first came to OSU, I obviously I wasn't doing digital communication arts, but I knew from my experience in like doing theater in high school that I wanted to do something creative, something maybe in the realm of like TV or film or video or something. And yeah, like TV was one of the first things that I discovered um, at Orange Media Network in Oregon State. I actually got involved by just kind of finding their meeting times online and started attending. And then the rest is history. In my freshman year, I kind of just worked as a station volunteer. So I would, help out on shoots, like either working on camera or helping to do audio or lights. Or sometimes actually I got to like direct the broadcast, which is where you get to like call what shots are actually being shown off the screen at that time. Um, yeah, and then my sophomore year, I actually got hired to produce a game show. And then junior year, I came back and got hired to produce a sketch comedy show. And actually, this year, my last year, I'm producing a news show called The Chew, which is, yeah, all of those have been like very unique shows. Like they all have different challenges and like skills that you learn. But like they're all like a whole lot of fun. Um, and yeah, Omen really is like I think it's kind of one of the unsung heroes of campus. Like it's such a great resource. Besides KBVR-TV, there's also a radio station, KBVR-FM. There's Prism, the literary and arts magazine, which any student can submit to. There's DAMchic, which is like a fashion magazine. The Daily Barometer, which is our newspaper, and Beaver's Digest, which is that's like kind of our um, lifestyle magazine. So like, even if you're not interested in TV, there's stuff for like people who are interested in writing, people who are interested in photography, yeah, music, all like it's really like a great media resource and they help like connect you with a lot of other like resources and internships if that is like something you're wanting to do career wise. There's also just a lot of people who like haven't who don't do that in their classes, but like are just there for fun. Because yeah, I guess that's the other thing is like it like regardless of what you want to do, it's definitely a great resume builder. To have those skills of like media creation is really important. Which I know you mentioned
Especially
that's kind of
like,
part of the reason you're doing the
yeah,
podcast, right?
yeah, that's definitely like that was kind of like my pipeline for sure. But yeah, OMN is such a good like starting point for and especially like in such a digital age that we're living in, like you can't not have media skills, and I feel like it's a really good jumping point for a lot of students. I think the episode that's coming out before this one is going to be our interview with Macy and Audrey. So the FM station manager and then also our barometer editor in chief. So that's a really cool episode. Go check it out. Um, but yeah, I think OMN just it's just like a melting pot of so many different students and so many different media forms that you can really just kind of find whatever you're looking for, which is really awesome. And they have such a welcoming community that it's really like, for me as a psychology student who didn't even know media was an option, that was really cool. And I assume like the same coming from like engineering that felt probably out of place, but knowing things from your past and being able to connect them, it makes me like so happy to like figure out that students can help find themselves and find new career paths or things that they're interested in through such an organization. So glad we can kind of chat about that a little bit.
Yeah.
um, but as we're kind of like wrapping up a little bit, I want to kind of touch on some like um, what are some things that you would like to tell future students, whether that's if you want to start with like what brought you to OSU and tie it to things that maybe you would do differently or things that you would tell other students that they should join or be a part of or things to keep in mind. So feel free to kind of go for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll start with advice. Yeah, when I first came to OSU, I think I was a very different person from the person that I am now. And I think that's going to happen to you too. I think I definitely had like a lot less clarity on what I want to do and like what I'm passionate about. So like, if you're there, I'd say like, you know, be patient, let yourself like explore, especially like the things you don't expect to be good, because like you never know what might end up turning into like a career passion. Um, I also, yeah, I think like for me, I applied to like a lot of schools, and like, I think the thing that brought me to OSU was like, like I mentioned before, the CS program. Like campus is honestly so beautiful, and I'm also a walker. I kind of go insane if I don't have my daily walk. And it's really nice to like walk past all of the sort of beautiful nature that there is. Um, and then, yeah, it's also like for me, it was close to home, which was really nice. Uh, so like, you don't have to, you don't have to go to any like Ivy League school to like get a really good education and like really learn a lot about yourself. It really is about like you yourself putting yourself out there and like taking as much advantage as you can, because there really is like so many resources on campus, and there's like a little bit of something for everyone. um I'd also like, in terms of resources, also definitely like I've personally found like student health services on campus really useful, which like offers a lot of like free or lower cost like medical services, including like contraceptive care if that's something that you are interested in. CAPS has a lot of resources for like accessing psychological services, um, like which has also really been really great. And yeah, there's just like there's so much at Oregon State. Like yeah, you really just have to put yourself out there. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because it really is like kind of what you make of it. Since we have so many resources, it's kind of up to you to kind of extend those olive branches and go find clubs and organizations to be a part of. And um it's kind of, yeah, you never know what's gonna happen and be open to change because coming in as like most of the time students are 17, 18, which like you don't know anything about life at that age.
Yeah,
You don't
that
know
is true.
you don't know who you are, don't know who you're gonna be. And I definitely agree. Like I feel like even post graduation, like it's almost been a year since I've graduated, and I feel like even after, like I feel like I've changed so much since graduating college, and I'm definitely not the same girl who showed up here at like 18. So I also like that you mentioned health services because they are such a good resource. And now that we have our new facility instead of being in Plagueman, it's so much nicer and easier and more convenient
Yeah.
to visit them on campus. And that's also a really good resource. I also love CAPS. They're definitely um, one of the organizations that I think is another kind of unsung hero of OSU that students don't really know about until it's already like I didn't really learn about CAPS until probably like end of my sophomore year, maybe junior year. But they're such a good resource and I love them. I'm so sad that I didn't use the Mind Spa as much as I should have as a student because that is such a great resource. It's
Yeah.
such one of the best rooms on campus, probably. Um, but yeah, so we're kind of at our time. Thank you, Dani, for sitting with me today. It was really great,
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, I know we go back, so but it was really nice kind of breaking down your journey at OSU and kind of all the different things you've been a part of. So I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us on Beaver Tracks. Um, and yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Again, this has been Beaver Tracks, a damn good podcast, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.
Bye.